Welcome to the 2019 Schall Consulting, CPG, retail, grocery, and anything in between that I felt like giving a meaningless award to award show. This is the pinnacle of award shows that are light on tradition, peppered with randomness, and heavy-handed on personal bias. A few things to know about the Schall Consulting Awards before we get started are categories were selected at random when I honestly mind dumped on this video concept. Winners, though, were thoughtfully selected by a prestigious panel of one. So expect to get a little bit of learning on when I explain the logic behind the winners of these categories. If any winners would like a trophy, please contact me through whatever way you want to contact me, and I'll make sure that I write something special on one of my business cards, and I'll make sure that I frame it real nice for you guys so you can hang it in the entryway of your headquarters so everybody can gawk at it over the next year. But without further ado, I would love to start giving out some of these random, better for you CPG, retail, grocery, and whatever else type of awards that I want to give out. So how about we start off with M&A awards, mergers and acquisitions awards. I talk a lot about that in my content. I seem to always love to break down some of these mergers and acquisitions. So let's kind of start with that one. And the best acquisition by a strategic for a better for you CPG brand. Who was the winner for this year? I'm going to give this to PepsiCo acquiring Cytosport. And this mostly comes down to, I think they got a pretty good deal on the Cytosport name. I also think that PepsiCo already having some of the distribution rights to the muscle milks and other kind of Cytosport beverages, I think that they knew what they were getting before they acquired this business. I tend to really like the idea of muscle milk and also the Evolve plant-based name being attached in some way as a 1-2 punch, or I guess a 1-2-3 punch to Gatorade. I think that that really opens up a ton of opportunity for convenient nutrition offerings across the two names. I think that really opens up a ton of different things that they can do. So I'm excited to see what kind of return they can get out of the Cytosport name, which has the brands like Muscle Milk and Evolve within it. Now, the next award that I want to talk about is the best acquisition by a private equity firm for a better for you CPG brand. In this one, I'm going to be giving this to VMG Partners, creating a new company, a Velocity snack brands, and then acquiring Pop Chips. So VMG, I'm a big fan of what they do in better for you CPG investing. I think they have a ton of really good investments and exits that they've had over the last several years. Their track record is pretty good. I like a lot of the team members over there. I like a lot of the way that they think. But VMG also had some pretty impressive exits over the last year. First one coming from Quest Nutrition for $1 billion. And then they also exited their investment with Drunken Elephant for $845 million. Now, they obviously didn't own the whole pieces of those. That's just the total exit number. I don't know exactly the percentages they owned of each one of those, but those are really good exits for the company. Now, the best overall M&A activity, I gave this to PepsiCo, and PepsiCo had multiple different acquisitions. I talked about the Cytosport one. They also had a Better For You Brands, which owns Popcorners, a snacking company, so it gets them more snacking, Better For You snacking options under their Frito-Lay umbrella. And then one that kind of skirted under the radar a little bit was their acquisition of Pioneer Foods, which is, I'd say, food portfolio in the sub-Saharan Africa region. Africa is a very fast growing emerging market, and I think it's the next opportunity for any industry, especially consumer packaged goods, and I think Pepsi knows that. So Pepsi's trying to get deeper into Africa now, and I think that that's a really great acquisition that they had. Getting out of the M&A and moving into retail awards, Best Grocery Retailer of the Year award, I'm going to give this to Kroger. And not because I come from Ohio and that's where they're based, even though there's a ton of bias a lot of times around Ohio-based companies. But what I love about Kroger is that they test some more in this new like digital first omni-channel environment, they are really not scared to go out and test anything to really find a perfect sequence or pattern that's going to work within their business. They have tried a ton of different things this year. They have a strategic partnership with Walgreens. They are investing heavily in their restock program, some very quick 30 minutes or less type of fulfillment. They're using Ocado a lot stronger with some of their distribution, with some of their fulfillment centers. And they have a really cool new store design in Cincinnati that kind of really opens up what they think retailing is going to be like, grocery retailing is going to be like in the future, with experiential, having the grocery store be more of a destination, be more of an experience when you go in there. The next award I want to give is the best retailer of the year, and I'm going to give this to Nike. Wait, Nike's a retailer? I understand they're probably still thought of as a brand first, but to me, Nike had done a crazy impressive job over this last year, reinventing themselves in a way so they are a direct-to-consumer retailer. They're leaning less on a lot of their retail distribution points, physical retail points. They backed out of Amazon because they didn't think that there was a ton of value in terms of what they needed to accomplish with that partnership. They opened up experiential store concepts. They've strengthened their retail footprint. They've built out some compelling apps for like their really big fans, their sneakerheads that are waiting to get every launch, and really providing them a unique way, a loyalty way for them to be deeper in the Nike brand. Overall, I think Nike had a very impressive year. I think that the blending between brands and retailers and brands with private label and things like that, everything is mashing together. So though it might be thought of as just a brand, I think of them as both a brand and a retailer, and the things that they did on the retail front, I had to give them props for that. Now, the best internet retailer of the year is, I think most people would love to give this to Amazon. I should give it to Amazon. Amazon every year becomes more and more impressive. And maybe it's the effect like LeBron in the NBA, is that you have such a high expectation for Amazon, you can't give them the award every year. So I'm actually going to give this year's Internet Retailer of the Year award to Shopify. And Shopify just, super impressive this year. I mean, they came out with a ton of different unique add-ons. They are the go-to small business website platform there is anymore. If you're not on Shopify at this point, people are looking at you a little bit weird. And I think that their announcement to kind of be the anti-Amazon, take on Amazon and provide fulfillment network, I think that was super impressive. I think they have about 10 or so at this point, distribution centers that they're helping their customers of Shopify, give them an opportunity to think about the online channel outside of just Amazon, really provide them with an opportunity to increase their direct-to-consumer sales. They also acquired 6 River Systems, which is a robotics company to really help automate and really look at their fulfillment centers and advance them in such a way that is going to help them compete against the likes of Amazon. So I think overall, Shopify just did a ton of impressive things that I wanted to make sure that I gave them an award to show them that I'm paying attention to them. I'm going to continue to pay attention to them because I think that 2020 is going to be an even bigger year for them to stand up and become that anti-Amazon. The next award that I want to give out is the best experiential store design. And I'm going to give this to Nike and their House of Innovation. They have a few of these now, these House of Innovations, but this is, if you're thinking about like the future of retail, this is to me what retailing in the future is going to look like. This is all about providing a very much an exclusive experience. This is customization to the extreme. You can pretty much go in there and customize pretty much any clothing. You could be a part of it. You can do whatever you need to do to get the best experience possible. If you're looking at something in the store or something on the mannequin, you can just get on your app real quick and everything will be picked for you in the size that you need. You can have Nike experts come and help you shop based around some of your traits. And they have kind of integrated technology throughout this whole store design where basically it's taken out as much friction as possible through the whole experience. This is quite an impressive like store design and just the way that they thought about stores, physical stores today. I think if you're going to go to a store, you're going to spend time to go to a store, you want that store to wow you. And this Nike House of Innovation will wow you for sure. Now I want to give out an award for the top retail CEO of the year. And I'm going to go outside of maybe consumer packaged goods or grocery or even maybe traditional retail. And I'm going to go give this to Brian Nickel of Chipotle. So I've been impressed with Brian for quite a while, actually, because he was at Taco Bell. I just really liked a lot of things he was doing for innovation, a lot of things around the tech, a lot around the marketing, and a number of other areas that I thought he really crushing it at Taco Bell. Now he moves over to Chipotle. Chipotle was in a time of need when he came on board in early 2018. And he hit the ground running. He basically reinvented Chipotle, got some freshness to their menu, which has been pretty stagnant over the years, and created some excitement that way. He's also added a ton of like digital first omni-channel technologies that are really helping Chipotle be one of the best performing digital sales public companies out there in terms of year-over-year growth. And he's brought back the stock from the dead up to where it was before all of the food safety issues were at. So overall, he's had an impressive year and a half. Now I'm going to finish this awards show off with some Better For You CPG awards. The first one that I want to give out is the best Better For You retailer private label of the year. And I'm going to give this to Target's Good and Gather. And this just came out like a few months ago. It's not even fully flushed out into all the stores at this point. But if you are looking at a retailer private label and one in Better For You, a lot of Better For You areas, and you're not pointing yourself to Good and Gather, you are not really kind of understanding what's happening, because Target, this is the most expansive changeover in private label. They're really getting aggressive towards private label in their food and beverage, grocery items as a whole. Target has really seen a lot of growth in their grocery section over the last year or two. Target, knowing very much what they are, Target, this certain feeling that you get when you go to Target, they want to make sure that their private label speaks to that Target feeling. And Good and Gather does that. This really is not just copying the best-selling XYZ product that's in their branded items. This is them pushing the limits. This is them creating new, Better For You items. This is a top-to-bottom impressive private label creation by a very big retailer. The best Better For You beverage award that I want to give out for the year is with Kaitu Life's Super Coffee. If you guys haven't noticed this beverage out yet, you guys will be, because it's exploding. It's everywhere. It's honestly hitting on a ton of different like big trends in terms of product. You have some protein added, you have MCT oil fat content in there, and you have coffee. Obviously, coffee's continuously growing, a very big functional beverage category, and this is getting a lot of traction. You have a strong team, young guys that are really hustling out there. They've hired some different people in there from a leadership team, and you're seeing these distribution points explode everywhere. So I think you're going to be seeing a ton of that over the next year. Now, the best new Better For You beverage that I want to talk about is Recess. Talk about this a ton on my channel. They actually launched, I think, the back month or two of 2018, but that doesn't really count. They really hit market here in 2019. They do everything right that I see from doing a CBD beverage right now in a very kind of weird, kind of purgatory state of regulatory. So they navigate that in a creative way. It's really connecting with consumers. I honestly think that this is the acquisition target for when CBD becomes federally legal. I think this is going to be the first one that falls down. It might not be as big as some of the other kind of CBD beverages, but I honestly think this one is probably the most composed in terms of brand overall. And it's one brand that if you don't know them yet, you should be definitely paying attention to. Now, jumping out of beverage into food, the best Better For You food item of the year is a tie between Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. This year was the year of like alt meat. It was all about this alternative meat, this Beyond Meat, getting a lot of attention because they went public before Impossible Foods. But maybe Impossible Foods had the last laugh, because now at Burger King, they have more on-premise points of distribution than Beyond Meat has. But this is something you hear about constantly, is these two names, and ones that is synonymous with the Better For You food movement at this point. So I had to give it, unfortunately, a tie. I have not tried either one of these, I think in this year, I'm going to try both. Maybe I'll do it on video. It might be fun because I am still a 100% real meat eater. I just love beef. I love chicken. I love pork. I love, anything in between there. So for me to switch over to these is going to be a tough sell, but I'll say that I'm going to give it a shot probably sometime this year. Best new better for you food item this year was Right Rice. And Right Rice, I like the packaging. I think it's simple. It works well. I think it also has a very good team of entrepreneurs behind that. These are seasoned entrepreneurs in the CPG world. And the product fits a lot of like the macro trends of product. You have some higher protein. You also have replacements for starchy carbs. So this Right Rice, something I think you're going to see a ton more out into supermarkets over the next year. So something, if you guys don't know anything about, to look up the Right Rice name. And the biggest, trend, the most powerful trend in Better For You CPG this year was flexitarianism. Flexitarians are doing a ton of things in terms of changing the CPG industry. Now, flexitarians are not going to the full extreme of veganism or vegetarianism, but flexitarians are maybe 1, 2, 10% changing over the way of purchasing and eating habits away from animal-based products. This is not just a food. This is not just maybe a beverage play. This is a full-on all CPG play. This is something that is affecting anybody from some of personal cares to beauty to food to beverage to cleaning products to tons of other things. So while I don't believe that like veganism and vegetarianism is going to hit this like crazy growth trajectory in terms of households that they self-describe themselves as those things, I think flexitarianism is not going away, and I think it's going to make a ton of different impacts in the way that CPG brands need to think about everything from sustainability to product, just the way that they are maybe purpose-driven or dump a bunch of different things. Consumers that start asking questions tend to then get a little bit more educated, and then somebody that maybe is doing 5% less animal-based products purchasing maybe goes to 10, 15, 20 over the next couple of years, and that creates a ton of different fractures within the CPG industry that you have to start to think about. So that's kind of my biggest, most impactful trend that's happening to the CPG industry this year. If you have some different award winners than I do for these random categories, I would love to hear about them. If you guys agree with any of the ones that I came up with in this video, would love to also hear about that. And for those brands that did win an award, if you guys do want that trophy that I promised you, please hit me up on any of my social media. I would gladly do that for you.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.